I used to daydream about being old enough to go on dates. I had this image of myself holding hands with a really cute guy, driving along some pretty road. It's never about going anywhere, really. It's having some sort of freedom, I guess.
Hey, what's up everybody? This is Stupid Smart Reviews with your host Rick, and today I'm going to be talking about It Follows, a new-ish movie. It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival a few months ago, but I'm only getting a chance to see it now via good word of mouth, and my god, the word of mouth for this movie has been incredible. I mean, everybody I know who's seen it, and that isn't a lot of people, but still, they all completely raved about it, and I was pretty excited to see it because honestly, I typically don't like horror movies, but that's probably because most horror movies kind of suck. I love horror movies when they're good, so I always look forward to seeing something that I hear is really good, because it is kind of rare. And this time, my god, I was just not disappointed. But before I get into that, let me go over the plot real quick. It's about a young girl named Jay, a young woman named Jay, who, after a sexual encounter with a boy about her age named Hugh, starts becoming followed by this person that changes its appearance and just follows her everywhere she goes. It always walks toward her slowly, but never reaches her, and it will kill her if it ever does. And the only way she can get rid of it is if she passes it on to somebody else by having sex with them. And it's kind of a weird premise, and I've got to say, I love it. The credit really has to go to just everyone involved in this film, but especially writer-director David Robert Mitchell. He directs with such a steady and precise sense of suspense and terror that it's always creeping in the back of your mind. Like, no matter what's going on, you know that something's gonna happen. This person or creature, whatever it is always going to be coming up. So you're wondering, all right, when's it coming? Is it coming? Like little bumpy noise. Oh my God, is that it? It's a hard thing to really achieve that in a movie, because most of the time you're watching knowing everything's fake and knowing there are jump scares, so you're kind of predicting them. So I feel this movie works because it has good characters and actors with good chemistry, and you really feel for them, and you care about what's going on, and that's just about the best thing a horror movie can do. And I could go on for hours about all the things I love about this movie, but I'll try to keep it short and simple. There's a lot of homaging to 70s and 80s horror films throughout. There's a lot of not just filmmaking styles like cinematography and music. Oh, the music. The music is so weird and synth-tastic. I mean, it is so 80s and just wonderful. It was made by a band or an artist, I don't even know, called Disaster Piece. I love that name. It's crazy. It sticks in your head, and it's not monotonous and boring. It is just eerie and intrusive. Like, it's too loud sometimes, but in a good way. Like, this music is a character in the movie, which I have missed so much, because so many new films that come out have boring scores. Sometimes they're nice, but they're not memorable, and they're not, like in horror movies especially, you just get that like these echoey sounds that they're so boring, and they're so but this score was just so creepy and irritating and wonderful. I absolutely loved it. And even though there's a lot of 70s and 80s homaging going on with the style and even the time period it seems to be set in for some of the movie, there's a lot of even though everything's very gritty and it's very realistic, the acting is realistic and the sets are wonderfully detailed with grit and grime and just the things you kind of normally don't see in films. Like, nothing feels sanitized, nothing feels too clean, everybody feels real. but their world is kind of otherworldly because there's like some things from the 70s and 80s like styles, but then everybody is watching 50s films all the time. They go to the movies, there's a 50s movie playing with like Audrey Hepburn. On the TV there's like cheesy sci-fi films from the 50s, and everyone has like rabbit ears on their TVs, and you're just, what the hell? I feel like Robin Williams in Jumanji. What year is it? And there's also like this girl, one of her Jay's friends in the film, and her friends are an important part of the film. They're not just there to be, bodies to be killed off. Her friend has this little like pocket mirror sized like Kindle or something she can read books on, and I'm like, that's almost like futuristic right there. Like, what? And I love how like this is almost like another planet sometimes, even though it's totally, it's our world, but it's off. There's something a little off, and that only adds to the suspense. And that only adds to the weirdness you feel during. And it's not weird for the sake of weird. It's all... you buy it all. You don't feel like they're ever going too far with, oh, let's just make her like, stare in the mirror for no reason and she's gonna like cross her eyes or something. No, it's like everything, there's always something relatable going on in the characters' minds. You understand every decision they make, and that's another super rare thing to find in horror films. Not everyone in her group of friends is conventionally attractive. That's really refreshing to see too. Another thing I loved was the it uses this very, very old school horror trope and very permissive one, pervasive one. I don't know. It's this trope of sexuality and violence being connected, and that's a really important trend in the best horror films, and it's alive and well in this movie. My God, the idea of passing on this curse through sexual intercourse, and just the violence that comes from when that thing catches you, and the sexual violence of it is really it's just beautifully done. It's so terrible and so horrible and so great to see. That to see a movie take chances like this. I don't want to give too much of the plot away, but I just feel like the movie is so well done in just about every regard. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about the ending. I was gonna give this like a 10 out of 10. I was real excited. It's this Halloween meets Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's just so wonderfully crafted. And then the ending was like, I felt a little cold. I was like, oh, I guess we're ending now. I don't know why it ended at that moment, and maybe I just need to see it again, and maybe the theme just has to be told to me. I mean, I don't know everything about movies. I don't know the director's intention all the time, but, usually I'm pretty okay at picking that out. I can figure it out, but I've been thinking about it, and I don't know why this movie ended when it did. But maybe until then, I'm perfectly comfortable giving this a 9 out of 10. I think it's honestly the best horror movie I've seen since The Conjuring a few years ago, though I have yet to see The Babadook, which I also heard was really great. Okay, thanks for listening to my Stupid Smart review. You can check out my blog if you want to read some of my reviews at stupidsmart.blogspot.com. That's stupid with 2 O's, by the way, so it's extra stupid. But, thanks a lot for listening, and have a good one.
Okay.
It could look like someone you know, or it could be a stranger in a crowd. Whatever helps it get close to you.